Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video, the second volume of the second edition of which we will be referencing later for some helpful information if you're really wanting to go in depth with some of the bonus features and some of the stuff we're going to see in this particular episode. This is kind of a special episode. We haven't really had episodes on brand new releases in a very long time, because in the United States, when it comes to the live action films, we haven't seen new releases in just over 3 years. The last time the US got any new film releases, it was when Rise of Skywalker came out, and we got the Skywalker Saga boxed set back in 2020. Remember, in the US, this is the only version that we got. It was exclusive to Best Buy. But what this finally gave us was 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs of the films for all 9 of those films, 6 of which had never been on it before, one of which obviously had just been released at the time, Rise of Skywalker. But the Lucas films, finally in 4K for the first time on physical media. These were the Disney Plus cuts released in 2019 on Disney Plus digitally that replaced digital copies people had previously purchased on platforms like iTunes in the past, right? They took the old files, got rid of those from 2015, those sort of odd cuts with the weird fanfares on them, except A New Hope, and they had swapped in the Disney Plus cuts for digital purchases, not just digital streaming on Disney Plus. The so-called McClunky editions. Remastered, some recomposited stuff, and of course known for the McClunky line coming from Greedo in A New Hope now. Those finally made their way, after being released online in 2019, to physical media in 2020. In the Skywalker Saga box set, but also as individual releases. So we have those black border releases again in 2019. We had the ones that were the old cuts from the previous Blu-rays in 2011. But then in 2020, rather than the multi-screen edition that was Blu-ray and digital, or the DVD-only versions, both from 2019 in the US, other places got it in 2020, we finally got those Ultimate Collector's Editions, which are neither Ultimate nor Collector's Editions, that include a 4K film disc, Blu-ray film disc, Blu-ray bonus disc, plus digital copy. Essentially, the same thing you would see in the big set here, but broken down by individual film to give you the 2019 Disney Plus McClunky versions on individual packages, 4K Blu-ray bonus. We got all that. I have a feeling this question is going to come up a lot, and I'm trying not to have to answer it repeatedly in the comments. These are the 2019 Disney Plus cuts in the US, okay? So we had A New Hope got its version, The Empire Strikes Back got its version, Return of the Jedi got its version. But so did Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One finally got a 4K release, and on the same day we saw the release of Rise of Skywalker on 4K, but it wasn't in this type of matching packaging. There had already been 4K releases for Last Jedi and Solo. We did wind up eventually seeing black border releases of those, kind of, sort of, but the less said about that right now, the better. We've covered that controversy plenty in the past. But that was it. That was the last time. Now, in the UK, and some places in Europe, they got something we hoped to someday see over here that never wound up showing up. They got those Zavi SteelBooks for all 11 of the live-action films. We're looking at the original trilogy ones here real quick in their protective cases I slip on here. But A New Hope got one, Empire got one. This is the one where some of them were scratched, so they replaced the cases for many. Return of the Jedi got one, but so did the other 8 films. We wanted to see that in the US. Best Buy is our source of SteelBooks. Nothing. Nada. We go into 2021. Nothing. Nada. I even made a video that was sort of a looking back at 2021 joke on here because there just wasn't anything for US audiences to get excited about with new releases, even reissues in 2021. Then in 2022, yes, new releases. All the ones that look kind of like this. This is the French version of the original trilogy 4K/Blu-ray set. The US didn't get these either. There were different formats that we would see, different ways of collecting these we would see in places like Australia or the UK or France, for instance. France got these with the 4K discs. The UK did not. They just got the Blu-ray sets and the DVD sets. But yeah, we got another round of stuff in 2022 that the US was again left out of. Now it seems like it's kind of turned its head because what we're seeing released on May 2nd, 2023 seems to be something that, at least for right now, I've seen no evidence of existing anywhere outside the United States. And just like those Zavvi SteelBooks, these are exclusive to the US's primary SteelBook exclusive distributor, which is Best Buy. The original Trilogy, and that's all thus far, has been reissued as of today, May 2nd, as I'm recording this, at Best Buy in the United States in a set of SteelBooks for the Disney 100 product line. The 100th anniversary of Disney being celebrated by releasing a whole bunch of Disney films, or Disney-owned films, whether they were under Disney when originally released or not, in SteelBook packaging that all have a similar style. And there are some sort of regular versions of this. There's ones with pins that come from Walmart, but so far the only Star Wars releases we're seeing are the ones from Best Buy. That's it. Now, I know that's a little bit of extra background here, but it's important to know the context of how long it's been since the US had releases, what we missed out on, and what these will actually be when we see them. Starting with A New Hope. We've got the J card on here. It is just one of those ones that slips on, unlike the ones with actually cups and actually fits in nicely to stay there, as in other regions. The J card kind of lays out here, says Best Buy 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray digital code. You got a little shot there of the disc, which should look very familiar. These are, I will say it many times, the 2020 discs. The same ones as in these. The same ones as in this. Okay? They're just being reissued in new SteelBooks. That's it. McClunky editions for 2019 on physical media. That's what it is. And people are still going to ask. It says limited edition collectible SteelBook. Shows you what the inside looks like here. Kind of gives you a preview of that. Nothing on the top. And then a back that is very similar to what we saw on those individual releases previously. Let me hold up A New Hope here, right? So slightly reorganized, just a little bit, but not a ton. So we've got the digital code included, download or stream, bring your movies together, redeem on Movies Anywhere. So it's sort of the new current version of the Disney Movies Anywhere thing here. We have the tagline and the information about the film again. We've got the Ultra HD Blu-ray and Blu-ray specs and whatnot, including the fact that there's the movie disc and the bonus features disc over here. Your specs about it, cast crew information, rating, legalese, and digital code disclaimer type stuff down there. Kind of standard stuff, but slightly reorganized from what we saw in 2020, though with that same image, the binary sun's image and everything. The actual SteelBook, as I said, fits that Disney 100 mold. So what you got here, my New Hope has one teeny tiny dent, minor dent in it, but you can really see it kind of with the reflection here because it's freaking silver. So what we have here is the Disney 100 embossed logo. We have the Star Wars A New Hope logo down here. I kind of wish they had done it differently because, it's kind of cool, I guess, sometimes to see, the Star Wars with the A New Hope inside it because all the other ones have the titles inside. It looks kind of neat and everything. But A New Hope is a pretty short title to fit within there, so it looks kind of awkward. It's always seemed awkward to me. But that's the logo that they're going with because that's their current logo that they use for the film on their different physical releases as of 2020. Then we have R2-D2 here. This is not embossed, by the way. This here, you can feel the edge around it. It's not so much embossed, but you can feel an edge to it. We have the R2-D2 artwork there. Nothing on top or bottom or this side, because again, it's a SteelBook. The spine has Disney Blu-ray, this little symbol right here, which we really haven't seen all that often. There you go. And then Disney 100, because that's the product line with the little mouse ear type things here. And in what I think is kind of an odd decision, they put just the regular logo in this style there on the spine as the title. I know that this is because that's what they do with all of these in the Disney 100 releases, but we will find that's a little bit weird when we put all these together, say, on a shelf, as we'll see in just a moment. On the back, just straight silver with a, not really embossed, I feel like it's like a cutout is what it kind of feels like here. Rebel Alliance symbol with sort of that pattern underneath it that we also see with other releases in this product line. Looks a little bit weird, just, I guess, giving it texture or whatever. You open it up. You have the most up-to-date new version of the Movies Anywhere information here. I'm going to cover the code. I can't recall if I've handed that off to anyone yet. I know I've used it for the points, but just the newest version of the code slip here. The discs are identical to what we saw, so I'm not going to have to show them in detail here, to what we saw in 2020, what we've seen over and over and over again in looking at releases in 2020 and reissues thereof. Inside, there's your art. Right, it's the escape pod heading towards Tatooine. So we have a new SteelBook for A New Hope, but not new discs. Same old discs, digital copy comes with it. The code slip looks a little different because they've changed the design a little bit since the last of these, but it's really the SteelBook itself, the packaging, that makes all the difference here in being a new thing. And again, these are exclusive to Best Buy. Then we have The Empire Strikes Back, also released today. Essentially the same setup to the packaging here. There you go. There you go. Could have probably done that two-handed, huh? Then the actual SteelBook, similar design. Here The Empire Strikes Back does stretch across, which is nice. Disney 100. We have Yoda here. We have a similarly designed spine. Now, what symbol should be on the back of this one? In this case, it is the Jedi Order symbol. Inside, again, code slip, your discs, again, exact same discs as in 2020. I would say as in 2022 also, but there weren't any US versions, but essentially, internationally be the same thing too, just with different region coding or maybe language differences. Not region coding, but region language choices. So regional masters, there you go, because they're ABC, regional. And then you got your Vader trying to entice Luke there as the interior art. Then we got Return of the Jedi. Similar setup here with the J card. There. Back. Okay. In this case, similar setup here with Vader. Obviously the different title there. Similar spine. On the back, the Imperial cog this time. And then inside, code slip yet again. Same discs as we've seen before. It sucks that when I put them into my PS5 to go through and actually try to watch them and double check them earlier today, it was like, do you want to pick up where you left off? But I just bought these discs. Haha, they're the same. Right? Pick up where you left off and all that jazz. And then you got the arrival here, the Death Star arrival there. Okay. So what we have here basically, as I make a bunch of noise trying to put everything back together, is basically, as I said, it is just the original trilogy. It is new SteelBooks, but the packaging is all that is new. Again, the discs are the same as we would see in 2020 in the Skywalker Saga box set, in the individual Ultimate Collector's Editions, which are really neither, as I always tend to say. And that means all that content carries over, but there's nothing new to be found in terms of actual content to view. It is the SteelBooks that are making the difference here in being something original. And in a lot of ways, this kind of takes it a step further even than something like these, in that, of course, this was a Disney-style branding, right? No matter whether it's Star Wars or something else, it would have this type of stuff on it, branding-wise in the US, if it was a 4K/Blu-ray/digital copy of something from Disney. Unless it was Marvel and it said a Cinematic Universe Edition instead of Ultimate Collector's Edition. But that type of branding. Same thing with the multi-screen editions that have that branding across different products, regardless of what universe it is in. Now we are seeing Star Wars caught up in that again, only this time it's that Disney 100 product branding, such that we wind up with a trilogy set that is in this silver packaging. I think a good way to describe the packaging, my impression of the packaging here, I'll use Jedi as the example, is that it looks classy, but really boring at the same time. Right? Ooh, fancy Disney 100, the title. Ooh, I like this, particularly on the back with the symbols on the back and everything. Ooh, fancy. And it's part of a matching product line across a bunch of other Disney properties. Fancy. Very boring, right? Product line logo, film logo, a symbol on the back, a very small picture framed with a whole lot of dead space around it in the center here. Okay, nothing too exciting, except for the fact that it's the first time we've got freaking new releases for the films in the US, even if they are reissues, in 3 damn years. So they're very different than what we've seen with other Star Wars releases, even as SteelBooks, which is kind of a cool thing to put in the collection. It is a unique thing to the original trilogy so far. We have no indications yet that any of the other films are going to get this treatment, or that they're going to get anything other than SteelBooks, like ones with pins or something at Walmart so far. Again, very sort of professional looking, classy looking, but boring. It's like a tux, right? A tuxedo. A tuxedo is classy, but it's kind of boring. Spice it up a little bit. And in this case, I think maybe they tied their bow tie on wrong, or perhaps too tight, because in following the pattern of the other releases in Disney 100 and putting the logos on the spines, and choosing to go with these logos, they gave us this when it's sitting on the shelves. Teeny tiny Star Wars logo with an even teeny tinier name of the film squeezed in between Star and Wars in teeny tiny type. Like, type so small I'm surprised the letters aren't running together type small. So when you put these on these shelves, I got a feeling it's going to be a little trickier to spot which is which. I mean, you're really going to have to go by not necessarily, which one is it? At least for someone with my eyesight, which one is it? And instead just look for, okay, it's Star Wars, and there's that line of text running in between. I don't actually know what the line of text says because I can't even see it, but at least I know by length, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope. Just look for the one where the gap in between has a little black line-looking thing, because you can't even make out the letters, of the length that you want to pick which one you're going to watch. As if most Star Wars fans don't have so many copies of these, that these will probably just sit there on the shelves, and we'll be grabbing more convenient copies anyway when we want to actually watch. But finally, the US actually has some new releases. It doesn't look like there are going to be foreign versions of this. There may be. I'll be keeping an eye out, of course. But after missing out on the Zabby SteelBooks, after missing out on these last year, it's nice to see the American market is not entirely forgotten when it comes to physical media releases for Star Wars. That said, I don't think so much that these are really physical releases for Star Wars as the point, so much as the point was Disney 100 celebrate 100 years, we're going to put a bunch of stuff out on physical media. So whether or not this means anything in terms of the future of Star Wars on physical media, I think we can't draw any conclusions whatsoever based on this. This product line itself is effectively an anomaly. Maybe, based on some of the things Bob Iger has apparently been saying, maybe we'll see a push more towards physical media, not just streaming. But right now, the jury is still out on that. So for Star Wars fans in the United States who want to pick up more Star Wars stuff on home media as it is released brand new, instead of just going back to the back catalog and hunting for stuff as a collector, we finally have an opportunity to do that. It's a limited opportunity, but it is finally an opportunity for the first time in 3 years. Put this in perspective. We waited 3 years to get these after the blitz of Rise of Skywalker, Skywalker Saga, and those Black Border releases, some of which were reused and some of which were new for those Ultimate Collector's Editions in 2020, to get these in 2023. 3 years. That is how long it took between the theatrical releases of A New Hope and Empire, between Empire and Jedi, between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. That's how long it took for us to get new releases of any kind for the films in the US this time. That's a big gap. And with this being a bit of an anomaly, as a Disney product line rather than a Star Wars product line per se, I really wonder if we should be reading more into the gap than reading into the fact that we got something. We'll see what the future will hold. But for now, it's nice to have some new releases. For what it's worth, before we go, for those of you who are wondering what the bonus features are on these, you can go back. It is a 4K disc for the film. It is the Blu-ray disc for the film, which would include commentaries and whatnot. Then you've got the bonus feature disc for the films along with your digital code. The bonus feature discs are the same as the ones in 2020, which carry over a lot of previous stuff from the digital release in 2015 or the Blu-rays from 2011 and so forth. If you want an exhaustive breakdown of those, I covered that when I covered the Skywalker Saga box set back then, and those individual releases back then, back in 2020. You can also find them in a Saga on Home Video 2nd edition, Volume 2, starting on page 232. You want the section called In Space, No One Can Hear Your Wallet Scream 2020. I go into exhaustive detail on what all of the bonus features are found on any of these films and how they compare to previous releases. It'd be a little bit too nitpicky to go into in this episode, given the fact that it's already running a little bit long for me to give you all of that interesting, hopefully, context to why this is an important, but maybe not trend-setting release here in the US. So, I hope you find that helpful. I hope if you see this here right as it's being released, that your Best Buy still have these in stock if you want to go grab some, because we may not see more of these for a while. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.